was young, talented, and determined to make it in the music industry. That is, until her dreams and her life were brutally cut short. 17 years later, the case remains unsolved, and her family continues to deal with not knowing why their loved one was taken from them or seeing the perpetrator be held accountable for the heinous crime. Yolanda Rose Brown, aka Lala, was born on May 20th, 1986 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She was the youngest of 5, 4 girls and 1 boy, to a Mexican mother and African-American father. At a young age, Lala, as well as her siblings, began taking dance classes. She also took voice lessons and honed her singing skills in church. She regularly participated in local talent shows, and before long, she was performing in Milwaukee area bars and clubs. Eventually, her talent caught the attention of Reggie Smooth as Butter Brown, a well-respected Milwaukee DJ. He got a call from Lala's father, asking him to host his daughter's record release party. He came and was blown away by the standing ovation the 12-year-old received. As confident and ready as Lala was to launch her career, she'd end up having to balance her music aspirations with a more important commitment. At the age of 16, she gave birth to a daughter. While the experience may have slowed other young mothers down, it only fueled Lala to be more aggressive with the pursuit of her dreams. Within the next year, she got a call from some producers that were looking to fill a spot in a 2-girl group they were putting together after one of the girls was dropped. Lala jumped at the opportunity. She was now officially one half of a girl group called Eye Candy. The experience didn't last long though, and Lala then found herself back at square one. At this point, she was also ready to spread her wings and get out of Milwaukee. She took the advice from DJ Reggie Brown and relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, in hopes of furthering her career, believing there she would have a better chance to meet artists, songwriters, and producers who could assist her. As soon as she got settled in ATL, Lala went full steam ahead, booking every opportunity she could. Later, however, she began to realize that pursuing her dream while being a full-time mom was more than she could handle alone. So she made the difficult decision to send her daughter back to Milwaukee to be looked after by her parents. Now, without the pressures of caring for a toddler, Lala was able to commit full-time to her dream of becoming a recording star. Success, though, still continued to be out of her reach, forcing her to take a job as a dancer at a local Atlanta strip club. Working at the strip club did put Lala in close proximity to many of the city's biggest hip-hop artists who frequented there. Soon, she crossed paths with one patron in particular who would be responsible for her big break. R&B singer-songwriter Life Jennings told her that he'd heard she could sing and asked her to be on his new track. Lala didn't hesitate. She signed a contract and got straight to work. The track, SEX, was a cautionary tale warning adolescent girls about the pitfalls and dangers of unprotected sex, and appeared on Life's second studio album, The Phoenix. Lala's vocals were prominently featured, and she also appeared in the music video.
See, he'll tell you all kind of things to get in your pain.
The song became a top 40 pop hit and rose all the way to number 3 on the R&B hip-hop chart. Next came a tour, and Lala's first time on the road, positioning herself to become a star in her own right. But soon, the pressures of touring would take a toll on both her professional and personal relationships. In the thick of things in summer of 2006, she initially was coping well with all the work involved. She and Life had great chemistry on stage and became fast friends. But eventually, the grueling schedule began to take a toll on their relationship. In June of 2007, Life abruptly kicked Lala off his tour following an explosive argument. She returned to Milwaukee determined to find her own success. Once again, she sought out connections with people in the business who could help put together her debut album. Her search led her to up-and-coming producer Jaton Claiborne, aka Kool-Aid. The two began collaborating, and soon their business partnership turned into a romance. By that fall, Kool-Aid was poised to release 3 of Lala's tracks: I'm Feelin' It, Rescue Me, and Give Them What They Want. Major labels were also starting to take notice. In October, with several singles in the can and an upcoming meeting with Def Jam Recordings on the docket, Lala and Kool-Aid were ready to head to New York City. Unfortunately, right around this time, Kool-Aid's recording studio, Loud Enough Productions, was robbed. Thousands of dollars of equipment was stolen. Rumors began to swirl that Kool-Aid had gotten involved with a dangerous crowd, whom he owed money, and perhaps the break-in was an attempt to collect on the debt. Whatever the truth was, both Kool-Aid and Lala pressed on. While initially they both stayed clear of the studio, they decided that enough time had passed and they needed to get back to work. So on October 15th, after having dinner at Lala's parents' home, her father dropped them off there. It would be the last time anyone would see the couple alive again. After several days passed without any word from either of them, Kool-Aid's brother came by the studio on October 19th. Since no one answered his knocks, he kicked the door in. He was met with a gruesome sight as he viewed the bodies of his brother and Lala lying on the floor in front of him. Kool-Aid had been shot through his hand, likely raised in a self-defense position, and then through his eye, killing him instantly. Lala appeared to have tried to run, but was shot several times. Milwaukee police descended on the crime scene. Officers tried to piece together what could have led to the murders. Based on the condition of the bodies, it was determined that it had been several days since they were gunned down. There were no signs of a break-in or forced entry, and no signs of a struggle. Police combed the area hoping someone saw something, but there weren't any major leads. While family and friends were left with more questions than answers, investigators believe that Lala and Kool-Aid were taken out by someone they knew. Speaking to family, investigators determined that in the days leading up to the murders, Lala feared for her safety. Allegedly, she'd received some threatening phone calls, and she even went to her father to ask to borrow his gun, but he said no. Police ultimately theorized that the murders and robbery are connected. 6 days after Lala's passing, her funeral was held at the Mason Temple Church of God in Christ in Milwaukee. Life Jennings was among the hundreds in attendance. 2 days after that, Kool-Aid was laid to rest in the same cemetery. 2 weeks after the murders, Milwaukee police was no closer to an arrest. To bring attention to the investigation, a local law firm offered up a $5,000 reward for information. But months passed, and then years. With no new leads, it seemed the investigation had reached a dead end. Then, in 2010, America's Most Wanted featured the case, bringing attention to it once more. Finally, in 2016, police arrested 2 suspects. However, the district attorney's office didn't believe there was enough evidence to pursue a conviction, so they weren't charged. As devastating as it's been to watch more and more time go by without any resolution to the case, Lala's legacy continues to be celebrated by her family, friends, and fans.